Hi there, I'm Carmen, and this is Curated by Carm, a sewing, DIY, and lifestyle channel. And it's my very first YouTube video. I'm so excited, also petrified, but this is going to be good. I'm really excited to be here. So, a quick overview of me. I am a 40 something wife, mom, and professional. It dominates so much of my life that I decided in 2026 to commit to doing more for myself. And this is one of those things, which is starting a YouTube channel for me to really be accountable to living out some of the creative ambitions that I have. I am a very creative person, a bit quirky, and have always really been interested in creating things. Honestly, just like for myself, for my family, but also just having that vision to look for things that spark inspiration in me. And so I'm hoping to do that here on this channel and bring you guys along for it. So how the channel will be set up, I envision this in kind of a 3 to 4 part way. And so the first is sewing, which has been something I've learned to do when I was fairly young. I've never quite committed the time and attention to it that I would like. I'm hoping to do a lot of that on this channel. The second thing, which I'll talk more about too, is more woodworking and home DIY. I am not an interior designer by any stretch, but I do have vision, I will say. And I really fell in love with woodworking and would like to do a lot more with that. And then last is, I'm calling this like Carmen doing things. I don't know what to call it yet, but something along those lines where I'm trying out things that have always been of interest to me to see if it's something that, one, either sticks, or two, is just something new that I have kind of in my arsenal of tricks. And just because I have so many varied interests, I think it'd be very cool and exciting to experience. And then third is travel. I get to go to some really amazing places professionally and personally. I take the kids lots of cool, interesting places. So maybe I'll talk about that a little bit. But then also just bring you guys along for the ride for some of my adventures. I can't take you to everything, I'll be honest, but especially for work, but on occasion, I do think that there will be opportunities, hopefully, to bring you guys along. So those are kind of the 4 parts of what I'm hoping to accomplish on the channel. And I will give you a bit more detail on a couple of these. So first is sewing. So I mentioned I learned when I was fairly young. My mom sewed, my grandmother sewed, neither of them, professional, but I think it was just more common back then, if I'm honest. But they both taught me when I was pretty young. That said, I did not do as much with it as I would like. And because fashion and style is just something I've always been so interested in, I think that there is an opportunity for me to do even more with that skill. I have a very robust closet. It is not all me-made items, but I do feel like there are some holes and opportunities for me to round out my closet, which is the more exciting part for me, because I can create the unique pieces that I think are missing. So never say never. I likely will not be creating like t-shirts or, your best basic wear, maybe. But at this point, I don't have ambition for that yet. It's much more, I'm going to this really cool, interesting event. There's a museum opening. I am making something for that. There is, I'm going on holiday and there's some vacation looks I want to create. So everything will not be, of course, we are not going to the Met Gala. Not yet. No, I'm just playing, but we're not going to the Met Gala. We are not creating for that. However, we are creating unique, interesting pieces that are very ownable and authentic to me. So I think that's it for sewing. Oh, I should say I have been collecting sewing patterns for like 20 plus years. It's a problem. I need to stop. But now I have tons of the big 4 patterns, and now I'm like, oh, all these indie patterns are so cool and so trendy. I gotta stop. I gotta cut it out. So we're gonna try to commit to using things that we already have. On occasion, I'll buy some patterns, I'll say, but that's where we are. And then fabrics, tons of fabric, beautiful fabrics that I do not cut because I'm scared to mess them up. And I will say, skill level, probably like confident beginner, adventurous beginner. Potentially, I am willing to take some risks and try some things, but there's still lots of things I haven't tried that I would say is still pretty basic for people. Like buttonholes petrify me, and I don't know how people even create them. And I know everyone's like, it's so easy. not to me. So we'll see. But I do want to tackle some of those things on this channel. So I will say I've created some fun and interesting looks. Still some things I need to overcome that I'm a little nervous about, but I think could be really interesting. Oh, and I lost the earring, so let's pause real quick. And we're back. Okay, so I was just talking about sewing and, kind of where my skill level sits, what you should expect from the channel in that way. And I think that was pretty much it. So let's switch to woodworking. Okay, so during COVID, I asked my husband to get me a miter saw. We had just moved to a new home. And I was like, I need a dining room table. Everything was taking 100 years. I didn't want to wait. So that Mother's Day, I said, hey, babe, can you get me a miter saw? And he's like, you're the only person asking for a miter saw for Mother's Day, but it's cool. I got you. And I built a table, and I'll stick it up here somewhere so you can see some pictures. It was so much fun. I loved the process. And I decided to immediately pivot and make a king size canopy bed. So I'll also throw some footage of that here. And it was such a fun and exciting project, but that also took me to like the end of 2020, and life picked back up and I started traveling for work, and I just got right back into the swing of things because I was no longer sitting at home. I then had another baby. We moved to a new home. So many things have happened that I realized that's another way or outlet that I just don't really tap into all that often. But I do think there are lots of opportunity for me to do things in our new home that we just moved into a couple months ago, last year in 2025. So would love to create some of those projects and bring you guys along for it. First up needs to be this office. I will say I have an office / showing room that looks like, nothing's together. I'm looking at it now and I'm just like, what is happening? So that might be one of our early projects, but don't hold me to it just yet. Third, and is the Carm doing things, is likely will be the opportunity for me to try out some of the stuff that I've always wanted to, or is of interest, or I've just found out about it on Instagram and decided, let me just try it out. So it could be, guitar lessons for a bit. It could be ballroom dancing. I don't know, whatever is fun that I want to try, and I'll let you guys come along for the ride. And then travel, we talked quite a bit about, but like I've been to some really cool places, experienced some great things. I will say one note about the sewing and travel. Every time I go somewhere, I try to go to a fabric store and bring home at least one something, because I just think it's such a nice nugget. Now, what I will say is that I have fabric from Paris and Dubai and Barcelona that I have not cut into because I am scared to mess up my beautiful fabric. But I did get some, like I mentioned, the Cartagena trip. We got some really cute fabric from there that I think would be lovely to make a sundress this summer. So I have some ideas, some things that are on the horizon, and I'm hoping we can make happen. And that'll be part of like travel / sewing, a little bit of an overlap in that way. So for now, I think that's it. I'm not sure where you are in your creative journey, but for me, this is really about creating a life I love. And I think Curated by Carm will be a love letter to myself, where I really build out this amazing life. I'm already there. I love my life, but this is like the cherry on top. So hopefully you'll come along for the ride, and look forward to seeing you soon. Cheers.